Come out to the coast, we get together, have a few laughs.
Die Hard is amazing. It's groundbreaking, action-packed. Many consider it to be one of the best action movies ever made. But Die Hard with a Vengeance is actually better.
The only thing better than blowing up $100 billion worth of gold.
This is a new series where we take a particularly hot take on film and do our best to win you over. We welcome the debate in the comments, but just keep it civil and constructive.
All right, you know when I should argue? I won't argue, no matter how stupid it is.
We're going to spoil everything in these films. You've been warned.
Welcome to the party, pal!
First things first, I know this sounds crazy.
I know, it sounds crazy.
I'll say it again. Die Hard is amazing.
Nice.
The second film is pretty good.
Story of my life.
But the third film is the best film in the franchise.
Of course.
For the sake of argument, let's pretend these are both standalone films with no real relationship to each other. Now, let's get into it.
No, thank you, I'm fine.
What's more interesting to an audience? If the hero has more control over the villain,
Hi there.
or if the hero is under the thumb of the villain?
They bought it.
We can look at McClane's character in terms of advantage versus disadvantage. In the first film, McClane has the upper hand for most of the movie. He has the advantage.
Now I have a machine gun.
He never has the typical all is lost moment. He works in the background to disrupt the heist and emerges from his various scuffles to hide and regroup once again.
Thanks for the advice.
In Vengeance, the opposite is true. McClane almost never has the upper hand. He is constantly at a disadvantage. His victory is far from guaranteed. And in almost every scenario, we're left to wonder if he will make it through. Both films are cat and mouse games. But who's the cat and who's the mouse switches between them. And, dramatically, having McClane be the mouse is more intriguing and more suspenseful.
John, you're out of shape. You barely made it.
Yeah, well, we'll barely make it. What do you want us to do?
John McClane is a fantastic character.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother...
Unlike the muscle-bound behemoths of 80s action cinema, his power is bravery, resourcefulness, and a way with words.
Geronimo, mother...
In the first film, he certainly has his problems. His issues with Holly make him more relatable and human.
We're gonna have this conversation again. We did this in July.
We never finished this conversation in July.
But other than marital tension, he's in tip-top shape. In the third film, however, he is a full-on mess. He's got a drinking problem.
Have you been drinking, McClane?
No, not since this morning.
He's been suspended from the force.
He's on suspension.
And he's basically lost all contact with his estranged wife and family.
All the kids, John.
You're okay.
Did you talk with Holly? Frankly, John, you haven't
Hey,
been
Walter,
much-
how about you mind your business about Holly, huh?
He's a broken man. And that's just more interesting. And that plays directly into his disadvantage. He has to pull himself out of his misery in order to even survive this ordeal, let alone conquer it. This makes his triumph in the end bigger, because the personal and external obstacles were much greater.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Similarly to their differences in who holds the advantage, their plot structures are also decidedly different. On their surface, the basic plots are quite similar. An international group of bad guys pull off terrorist stunts in order to distract the authorities from their real prize, money. But the structures of both screenplays are quite different. In Die Hard, once the hostage crisis begins around 23 minutes in, very little changes. The heist proceeds as planned, as John wreaks havoc from the shadows. Near the midpoint, the police get involved but remain outside and basically useless. The stakes don't really change until Holly is taken hostage.
Sit down. A policeman's wife might come in handy. McClane, I have some news for you.
Go now, please!
In Vengeance, however, there is a constant escalation, both in the stakes and the obstacles. Every round of Simon Says gets more and more difficult, with greater and greater consequences.
Simon Says, if you attempt to evacuate schools, the bomb will be detonated by radio.
So, if we can generalize, the first film is a gradual rise in action, tension and plot movement. And Vengeance is a series of vignettes creating more peaks and valleys along the way. Overall, for an action film, the sequel has a more thrilling and dynamic structure.
That's right.
Speaking of action, we can look at both quantity and quality. Both films have some show-stopping moments, but Vengeance has bigger and better crafted sequences. But it's not just the content of the action, it's the presentation. Specifically when sequences are cross-cut between multiple threads. Both films do this. The climax in the original runs about 14 minutes with 4 main threads. Eventually, these reduce down to 1 in the final showdown.
Put down the gun.
A similar sequence in the third film isn't just longer at 20 minutes, it's more complex. John starts in the tunnel, gets in a shootout,
Keep your head down!
zip lines onto the ship, and gets pummeled by Targo. If that wasn't enough, we have the school bomb. They have to find it,
I'd say you could call off your search.
evacuate the students, go back in to rescue Zeus's kids, all while a ticking clock ratchets up the tension.
No guts, no glory.
The entire sequence evolves and escalates, creating a crescendo of white-knuckle action.
Boy, am I glad you talked me out of jumping.
I'm not saying that more action automatically equals a better movie. But when you've got a master of action cinema like director John McTiernan, those sequences are going to be executed quite well.
And cut. Good.
McTiernan isn't the only one orchestrating chaos in these films. Both films boast exceptional villains.
You're very perceptive.
Hans and Simon are equally captivating. Both are suave, cold and calculated masterminds. They're both villains, but Simon is a better antagonist.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Simon challenges McClane in a way he's never been challenged before. McClane is street smart and resourceful, but he's not book smart. Simon knows this and tests him with riddles, math and history.
Hello.
Birds of a feather flock together, so do pigs and swine. Rats and mice have their chance, as will I have mine.
Nice. Rhymes.
On the other hand, Hans doesn't quite know how to handle McClane. He's too busy trying to pull off this massive heist.
We do not alter the plan.
Hans is forced to deal with John only because he's mucking up the plan.
You are most troublesome for a security guard.
In fact, we might consider the antagonist of Die Hard to be John, not Hans.
Go f*** yourself, Hans.
It's an interesting and unique dynamic, but maybe there's a reason we don't see this more often.
Oh! Please, God, no, you're one of them, aren't you? You're one of them.
There's another dynamic to discuss regarding the supporting roles. Perhaps the best improvement in the third film is to give John McClane an actual partner.
Guy back there called you Jesus.
He didn't say Jesus, he said, hey, Zeus. My name is Zeus.
Zeus.
Yeah, Zeus, as in father of Apollo, Mount Olympus. Don't with me or I'll shove a lightning bolt up your ass. Zeus, you got a problem with that?
In the original, Sergeant Powell doesn't even appear for the first third of the movie. The scope of their partnership is limited to a few walkie-talkie conversations.
I read you, pal. You the guy in the car?
What's left of him?
There is depth in their interactions. We get a deeper sense of McClane as a hero with a soft side. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's kind of a one-note relationship.
Okay. You got that, man?
Yeah, I got it, John. You just watch your ass and you'll make it out of there, you hear me?
On the other hand, Zeus and John have a wide range of interactions. There's friction.
Hey, I ain't your partner. I ain't your neighbor, your brother, or your friend.
Humor.
So what's up with this LA thing? You famous or something?
Yeah, for about 5 minutes.
Don't tell me, Rodney King, right?
And catharsis.
Think we should call a fire truck?
Let him cook.
Overall, it's a more interesting and dynamic partnership put under extreme pressure.
You're a racist. You don't like me because I'm white.
I don't like you because you're gonna get me killed.
And you can't ask for better chemistry. Together, these two are firecrackers.
How's it work?
You know how to shoot a gun?
Look, all brothers don't know how to shoot guns, you racist mother.
Sue me.
So what do you think? Is Die Hard 3 better than Die Hard?
Perhaps you could be a little more specific.
Obviously, this is all subjective. The joy of being a cinephile is in the debate. Even if I haven't convinced you, I hope you realise my love for both of these movies goes deep.
She's heard me say I love you 1,000 times.
You don't become a criminal mastermind like the Gruber brothers without planning. Let StudioBinder be the Zeus to your McClane. Screenwriting, storyboarding, scheduling, call sheets, and more. That's enough action for one day. Until next time, remember that no matter where you land in this debate, may your love for the movies die hard.
Mr. McClane, now that it's all over after this incredible ordeal, what are your feelings?